going to talk about how to go live directly from Facebook today. All right, so let's say that you have to go live on Facebook. There are a couple of ways to do this. You could schedule a live event and then go live directly in the event, or you could just go live directly on your page when you're ready to go. In either case, when you are ready to go live, you're going to go ahead and click this live button, and it's going to bring you to the live studio. I find this to be a quick and easy way to go live, but it doesn't give me the kind of control that I would like. So I don't tend to use it unless absolutely necessary, but it is how I would recommend starting until you have figured out, until you have moved to a space where you're like, oh, I want to try something different. All right. So the first thing that we'll see on the left-hand side is where do you want to go live? So post on the timeline, post to a page you manage, or post in a group. I'm just going to say post to a page I manage, and I'm going to pick the social strategy squad, right? That's the page that I was on. Okay. It's right up there. When are you going live? I'm going to go live right now. Now I can also have my live video share to the story if I go live from here, which is not something that you can do if you go live using BeLive or Streamlabs. So that is definitely a benefit for using the system. And then let's say I'm going to teaching you how to use BeLive. Okay. And come join me. It's so fun. Come join me. It's so fun. Okay. So this is not where obviously this live description is terrible. But we talk more about how to do proper live descriptions in the training. So this is more just to show you how to use the software. You can cross post to more pages. So keep this in mind that you can actually select if I was going to go live, I would usually go live with my sister on Twisted Valley. I could have it save pages so that I'm going live on every time I go live here. I also go live on Twisted Valley to make life easier. For right now, I'm not going to go live anywhere else. So we're just going to leave that there. If there were some groups that I had attached to this page, I could automatically go live in those groups. So on the social strategies, on the business direct to success business page, I have a number of groups that I'm an admin of that are attached to the page. So I can go live in those groups as well. I can also do some audience settings. Now, the thing to keep in mind is that this is not necessary for anyone getting started right now, but at a later date, there might be use cases where this is something you may want to use. I don't touch it right now. We'll just let it go. Okay. So this is your sort of basic setup. We're going to scroll down here and look at what each of these things are. Okay. So I am going live from this is first section here is the, gotta bring this down again. Okay. For the stream setup. Okay. That's here. We have the integrated camera. So if I had other cameras, I could select it from here. If I was going to screen share, I could select it from here. Now, something to keep in mind, the limitation that exists within Facebook is that you can either go live with your camera or you can go live with a screen share. If you wanted to be able to move between both, you're going to need to use BeLive or Streamlabs. But on Facebook, you can only do one. So in this case, I'm going to go live just with my integrated camera. I don't have anything I want to share with you. I'm just going to go live with that. Okay. My microphone is going to be my default microphone. And then this is basically just, you can have a live tab on your page where basically now all of your lives go in there. I don't have that on my page because I have my video section where all my lives go as well. So I'm happy with that. So here we go. Now on the left-hand side, you have some additional options. This is where a lot of the important options come in. So I want to be able to share those with you and tell you what they are. End live videos if stream stops. So if you are someone who does not have a really good connection, I would not do that so that you could come back to your live video. That way, when you go back live, you can come back. Okay. You can have an embed live video, but that is not something that many of you will use. If you have a website, this will give you the code that you can then pull out and put into your website so that the video just shows up on the website. This is actually really clumsy. I've tried it in my website before, but it usually ends up looking really weird because it pulls not just the video, but ends up pulling like a whole bunch of the comments and text. So if you're going to do it, make sure that you test how it looks afterwards so that you make sure it looks the way you want it to look. You can also unpublish your live after the video ends. I don't know why anybody would do that, but there are definitely situations in which you may want to. So that is something that's available for you there as well. Now, you can allow viewers to rewind whether it is live or not, and you can turn on auto-generated captions, which I would strongly recommend. Okay. You can also add the ability for people to be able to message you straight from the live, which is really, really, really great if you're selling something. So you want to be like, if you have any questions, and you have someone to answer the questions right away. So let's say, for example, you're going live and you're selling clothes, and somebody has questions. You have this messenger thing. You can tell them, message me if you have questions, and you have somebody on your messenger answering questions as people type in. Great, great utility. You could also say, message me and I'll get back to you later, but people really like Messenger for immediacy. But generally speaking, you could have that turned on or off. And then you can have it actually turned on so that it is there even when the video is over. Now, the comments, this is actually the reason why I wanted to touch base on all of these, but specifically this is because there is a setting in here that can sometimes cause problems for business owners. So first is all viewers can participate in chat, which is great, which means anybody can participate. If you have trouble with trolls, this might be a good place to set your restrictions. However, keep in mind that if you have it set to say only your followers will be able to leave comments, then if somebody new comes to your page that does not follow you, and they try to comment, they'll be told that they can't comment, and that might be a bad experience. But you can always tell them, make sure that if you want to join the conversation, you follow the page. It's a great way to get followers and people who are actually interested and want to engage. Now, the slow one is the one where people tend to get stuck. Sorry, this thing is poking me. Where people tend to get stuck because let's say you're doing something where lots of people comment very quickly, or they like, oh my god, they type a whole bunch of things, all in quick succession. If you have this set, then people can only comment once every 10 seconds, which means they will have to wait between posts to post again in the comments. Now, this is ordinarily, it might be fine, but if you don't know that that's set up, that is set to that, and somebody comments like 13 times in quick succession and like 2-second succession, they're going to get dinged for going against community guidelines. They're not going to get to comment. It's going to tell them that they are not allowed to comment. They've commented too much. So if you find that happening, come and check at this is not turned on. That might be where that's coming from. Now, the restricted commenters must have accounts that are at least 2 weeks old. That's always a good one, because that way you can at least make sure that you are getting people who are real people on Facebook, and who are not just there to spam. You may lose some of the people who just signed up for Facebook, and I don't really see that that's going to be a huge big deal. Most people already have Facebook accounts, but this is like the restriction that will give you the most amount of freedom in terms of capturing new audience members with the least amount of restriction. So that's what I would recommend, or I would just leave it as default. So one of those two, but if you find that you need the other three for some reason, now you know what they're there for. Okay, discussion. Now that is actually a really great way to hinder trolls, but it is not going to be a good use for almost any of you, because people will then have to write very long sentences, and a lot of people don't like to write long sentences. 100 characters doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're typing on your phone, and so if somebody has to write a comment that has 100 characters, they might not do it. Now, let's say, for example, you were doing a live training where you want people to be engaging in a thoughtful way. Having that there would be a really smart idea then, because you're like, nobody who hasn't actually thought about this is going to be able to comment, because they're going to have to say something that is thoughtful. Because if you're going to put 100 characters into it, it's going to take some time. So, and by some time, I don't mean 4 hours, but it's definitely going to take more time than right? Okay, and then if anybody shares links, you can block those comments. If you don't have a problem with that, I don't recommend turning that on. I often have people who will share links to my events while I am live, so I don't want to have those blocked, because otherwise nobody's going to be able to see them. If you have links that you have shared, like somebody comments and says, this is where you go to buy something, or this is where you register to check out, or this is how you sign up for the website. If you have an assistant helping you, then those comments will be blocked, and then nobody's going to see them. So though a lot of these features are really great for restricting and creating safe spaces so that you don't get a lot of trolls or a lot of negativity or a lot of issues, there is a downside to each one of them. So before using any of them, I'd recommend bringing it to the squad and just sort of asking the question and be like, hey, is this something like I want to use it for this purpose? What do you think? Okay. You can also, so your dashboard is where you have all of your stream metrics while you're live. Your stream health will tell you about your frame rate and your speed and your videos and all of those kinds of things. Because you're using a camera, you're not going to be able to use the graphics, so that's not super relevant. If you wanted to share a poll, I personally have found these polls to be quite clumsy myself, but if you wanted to use a poll, you could get a poll, and then while you're live, you can generate the poll. People can vote on the poll, and then you'll share the poll live. If you have questions that you want to have posted up on the screen, you can add a question. So let's say add a question, and then you can have it show while you're live. And then you can also add a featured link. So while I'm live, I can have it say Manifestor.com, and my description is I am amazing. Okay. And save. So what that's going to do is that when I'm live, then it's going to say I am amazing, Manifestor.com, so that now people can always link and go to my website. So for example, if you wanted to have your checkout link or your shopping link or something there, you could add that link there. And then when you go live, that link will show up. Okay. So the Facebook live producer space is fairly straightforward, simple, and limited. It gives you basically what you need to get going, but it is slow and it's clunky, and it doesn't give you a lot of features for customization that's really going to help you stop the scroll. This is how you want to start when you first start going live. So your first 3 months, I recommend either using this or using your phone or using BeLive. I do not recommend at all, under any circumstances, using Streamlabs in your first 3 months. Not until until you're comfortable with lives, you're comfortable with going live as part of your business, because Streamlabs has a very steep learning curve and it can be extremely frustrating if you haven't already gone through these. It took me several years to get going with Streamlabs simply because I wanted to get these other things under my belt. BeLive is actually the fastest way to go live. Faster than Facebook Live Producer, faster than Streamlabs. It is the fastest way to go live. So if you had to pick the fastest and easiest way to go live, I would recommend doing BeLive. But if you didn't want to spend any extra money and you wanted to just use your native Facebook, this is how you would do it.